What is up, guys? E3 continues and I'm here to cover it. Media Master Menard here today, bringing you guys another video. The hype train is rolling strong, there's no stopping it now. Let's get right into it and talk about day 2 of E3. So I want to start off with Ubisoft. I know they didn't go first today, but I want to talk about their games, in particular Assassin's Creed
Odyssey!
Whoa, wrong game there, guys, but all jokes aside, I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey looks like it's got the same engine as Origins, and it's going to have a lot of similar gameplay to Origins, which is a good thing. It was a great reboot for the franchise. It looks like this is going to be taking place around 500 BC in ancient Greece. I think that's one of the time periods that fans really wanted a lot, so it's good that they delivered on that. They mentioned it in their press conference, but I'd like to mention how they're making these games a lot more like RPGs, and I think that's great for the franchise. They're not just hack and slash, press counter here and win type of games anymore. There's actually depth to the combat, and there's armor, and armor has stats, and there's loot that you get from killing enemies, and it's a lot of fun. I had a really good time with Origins, so I'm hoping they can continue that trend with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Another flagship game that Ubisoft had on display was The Division 2, and if you guys saw my video yesterday, you guys know how I feel about The Division. I despise the looter shooter MMO light genre, and it just seems like they're acting like they've added so much to The Division and revolutionized the game so much, and I really don't know what they showed that they did do to revolutionize it, so I'm not going to believe it until I see it. I probably won't be picking up the game at all. It's not my cup of tea. I know a lot of people are excited about that and to see them grow on their ideas, but it just seems like one of those games that withholds content to try to sell it to you later, and I don't enjoy playing the same missions over and over again. That's just my take. Now, I promise I'm not trying to be too negative, but the next thing that Ubisoft announced was For Honor Expansion Pack, and I didn't even know that game was still a thing. I thought they had given up support for it. That game was one of the most interesting trends in gaming. It was selling like hotcakes when it first came out, and then it kind of turned into a game that died, and it wasn't because it was a bad game. The game, it was fun. It just seemed like there was a couple exploits that they refused to fix and didn't get to fixing fast enough, and it ruined the game, and the game's player base kind of faded away. So I think it is good that they are supporting their game, but I wish they would have supported it quicker at launch to remove some of those bugs to keep the gameplay fair and balanced. But going back to a more positive note, they announced the Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battles. They added a DK expansion pack, so Donkey Kong Adventures will now be a part of that game, and that's one of the games that I don't have on my Switch actually, but I've heard so many good things about that I'm really thinking about picking it up. I think it's a really cool spin on both those franchises, and I love tactical games, so I think I might give it a shot. Finally, they announced Just Dance 2019, and I'm not excited about that. I don't play those games, but I do know there are some people out there who are probably excited about that and ready to get the newest version of the game with more tracks and all that jazz. So that's about it for Ubisoft. The next one we'll talk about is Square Enix. A lot of people thought Square had a lackluster press conference, but I have to disagree. I am a fanboy, so just know that before you listen to what I have to say. Dragon Quest XI was reconfirmed for a September 4th, 2018 release date here in the West. It's already out in Japan. They also released a story trailer, and it's always good to know that they're doubling down on the story and making sure that fans know this is a story-based game. I know sometimes in the past with Dragon Quest games, they've been a little more focused on the grinding and a little bit less on the story, which is kind of the opposite of Final Fantasy games, which are my favorite. So it's good to know that they're making sure everybody else knows that this game is about the story, and it looks like it has a good story to me from what I've seen so far. Square also went back over Shadow of the Tomb Raider and showed some trailer and gameplay, and it was really good to see that. It's an exciting franchise. Like I said yesterday, I haven't played it too much, so I'm not going to comment too in-depth about it. There was a Monster Hunter collaboration with Final Fantasy XIV announced. I'm assuming that's going to be some type of monster as a raid boss or a dungeon boss or a dungeon that's themed as a Monster Hunter quest or something like that in the game. I actually have been playing FF14 a lot lately. We're having a real good time. It's a fun MMO, and I'm really glad they took the time to fix it and make it into A Realm Reborn. But the main thing that we were all waiting on was the Kingdom Hearts 3 news. We saw a little bit yesterday at Microsoft's press conference, but Square Enix obviously had their own extended trailer. And my favorite things about the trailer were kind of just seeing Ratatouille and all the other Pixar movies. And then we also got to see cool snippets of the members of Organization 13 throughout all the worlds and seeing what they're up to kind of and just teasing us at what's coming next. I know we can't wait for the game and it's just so exciting. And January 29th, there's going to be a lot of copies flying off the shelf. And also that picture of Kyrie and Lee together like sitting on a rock. I want to know what that's about. That really intrigues me. And I just can't wait to play this game. You guys don't understand my excitement right now. They showed off a lot of Just Cause 4 and its mechanics, and I'm going to have to be honest, I've never really been a fan of the Just Cause series. I thought it's always been a mediocre, so-so open world game. I think the best way to describe it is it's very cookie cutter. It has a lot of open world features and gameplay ideas, but they don't really execute any of those ideas to perfection or in a way that would make the game super exciting to play or a must-play game. So Just Cause 4, I know it has kind of a dedicated following, but it's just not for me, and this trailer didn't convince me otherwise. Finally, the last major press conference of the day was the PlayStation press conference, and obviously the main thing that we wanted to see was The Last of Us Part 2 trailer and gameplay, and boy, it did not disappoint. We got to see Ellie as a playable character, and we got to see kind of the brutal world around her and how it's even got more harsh than it was in the first game. And obviously the first game was one of the best games ever made, so everyone is super hyped and ready for this game. It's another game. It's up there with Kingdom Hearts 3 for me as a game I cannot wait to get my hands on and just want to play right now and get lost in that world and learn more about Ellie and Joel and what's been going on since the ends of the first game. It was kind of a cliffhanger ending, so I know a lot of people are just ready to know what happens next and is the zombie apocalypse gonna get solved. With The Last of Us being in the forefront of everybody's mind, it was a little hard to keep the hype high after revealing such a crazy, insane announcement. So some of the other games weren't as crazy as I would have hoped, and I actually think Microsoft won the press conference battle between Sony and Microsoft overall. But back to the announcements, Hideo Kojima's next game, Death Stranding, saw a really long 4K trailer, and it looked beautiful, but despite that, I don't really know what the game is, and not a lot of people do, and so some people think it's kind of quite a far ways off on the horizon, so I'm not going to comment on it too much, but it did look interesting and looks like it's going to be very narrative driven, and it's going to have the trademark long cutscenes of a Hideo Kojima game. Ghost of Tsushima is a new game that's been announced, and it's about the Mongol invasion and kind of the battles that happened in Japan, and so I really want to know how that's going to play out. The gameplay looks like a mix of For Honor and Nioh to me, so I think that's an interesting combination, and I'm a little skeptical about dueling games like that and how much depth they have and how much replay value, but I'll see how they do it and I'll try it out. To be fair though, it does look like they have some stealth elements and some parkour elements to vary up the gameplay, so it's not just duel after duel, so I really will be giving this game a fair shot with an open mind. Finally, they showed off the Spider-Man PS4 exclusive gameplay trailer, and it looks a lot like the Batman Arkham games, and that's a good thing. Those were great games, and they were made with due diligence, and I think that's what they're doing right now. They're making this game not just to cash out on the license of Spider-Man, but they're actually making a good game that uses the source material and does it justice. But that about wraps it up for today's video. That's all I wanted to talk about for the most part. I'm really excited for tomorrow. Nintendo's going. There's a lot of Switch announcements to come and their plans for the Switch console, so that's going to be great. If you want to see more E3 news in the upcoming days, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be bringing more E3 news. Normally I bring content on movies, video games, TV, and anime, all that jazz. So, if you like the video, leave a like and comment what you're excited for about E3 or what you're excited for that's still to be announced. Until next time, this is Master Menard, signing off.